Deciphering feminine signals seems like a complex puzzle that leaves many men lost and frustrated. The truth is that women communicate interest in subtle and not always obvious ways, creating a true nonverbal language that few can interpret correctly. Imagine how many incredible opportunities you may have missed by not recognizing the right signals at the right time. This content will reveal the secrets behind that coded communication, unveiling how to accurately identify when a woman is genuinely interested. You will discover practical techniques that will completely transform your way of interpreting social interactions, significantly increasing your chances in relationships and avoiding unnecessary embarrassment or rejection. Let's speak frankly about a problem that plagues many men: losing fantastic opportunities by not understanding feminine signals. The current scenario shows that thousands of guys let unique moments slip simply because they cannot correctly interpret subtle messages. Imagine how many times a woman showed interest and you didn't even notice. Statistically, men miss about 70% of the chances to initiate a relationship because they do not understand these nonverbal communications. The benefit of mastering this skill is transformational. You gain emotional control, increased confidence, and an impressive ability to read between the lines of interactions. The secret lies in understanding that each signal has a specific meaning. An interested woman will not directly declare her interest. She will create subtle situations for you to take the initiative. She might adjust her hair when you're nearby, maintain prolonged eye contact, find excuses to talk, or create seemingly casual moments of physical closeness. The key is in detailed observation. Pay attention to her body language. If she is positioning her body toward you, maintaining frequent eye contact, smiling more than usual, or finding excuses to be close, there is likely a real interest. There are universal signs that transcend cultures. When a woman laughs at your jokes, even if they aren't that funny, lightly touches your arm during conversation, or finds reasons to maintain constant communication, these are clear indications of attraction. Be careful not to confuse friendliness with romantic interest. Many men mistakenly interpret a friendly conversation as a sign of pursuing interest. The tip is to observe the consistency of these behaviors and the context of the interaction. To elevate your perception, develop your emotional intelligence. Practice observing without judgment, listening attentively, and learning to perceive behavioral nuances. The more you train this skill, the more natural and accurate it will become. Remember, each woman is unique and signals can vary. The fundamental aspect is to create genuine connection, be authentic, and demonstrate respectful interest. The art of interpreting signals does not mean manipulation, but truly understanding feminine communication. Feminine psychology is a fascinating universe that goes far beyond what appears at first glance. When we talk about signs of interest, there are deep layers of communication that few men truly understand. Women develop complex communication mechanisms that stray far from direct communication. This occurs for various cultural and psychological reasons, including emotional protection and social expectations. She prefers to create situations where the man can take the initiative without seeming too invasive or desperate. Levels of interest can be divided into 3 basic categories: superficial interest, moderate interest, and real interest. With superficial interest, she will be polite and kind, but with no romantic intent. With moderate interest, more subtle signs will start to appear, such as casual touches, frequent laughter, and a search for proximity. In the case of real interest, the signals become more intense and directed. It is important to highlight that there are conscious and unconscious signals. Conscious signals are those she deliberately plans, such as creating conversation opportunities. Unconscious signals reveal much more: a prolonged gaze, a special smile, body movements that demonstrate openness. Body language tells entire stories without saying a word. A body directed toward you, frequent hair movements, exposure of the neck and wrists are powerful indicators of potential interest. Verbal expressions also carry deep messages. When a woman asks details about your life, shares personal stories, or seeks your opinions, she is likely trying to establish a connection. The social context also completely modifies the interpretation of signals. In professional environments, the signals will be much more discreet. In leisure situations, they tend to be more evident and direct. The key to deciphering these codes lies in attentive observation, the ability to notice patterns, and emotional sensitivity. There is no magic formula, but there are techniques that can significantly enhance your interpretative ability. Developing emotional intelligence is fundamental in this process. This means training your ability to observe without judging, listening attentively, and perceiving behavioral details that often go unnoticed by most men. When it comes to identifying signs of female interest, the expert recommends paying attention to key phrases that reveal much more than they appear to. When a woman inquires about your personal life, shows genuine curiosity, or seeks to create moments of connection, she is likely signaling something beyond a simple casual conversation. Body language becomes crucial in this investigation. A prolonged look, subtle touches on the arm during conversation, frequent hair movements, and a special smile can be true codes of interest. The expert emphasizes that her body posture is revealing. When the body is directed toward you, with shoulders and feet pointed in your direction, this usually indicates emotional and physical openness. To confirm your interpretations, there are practical techniques. The first is to observe the consistency of the signals. One isolated gesture is not enough. You need to perceive a pattern of behavior. Another important strategy is to pay attention to the context of the interaction. The same signals can convey completely different meanings depending on the social environment. A valuable tip is to create subtle testing moments. If she keeps the conversation going, seeks proximity, and seems genuinely interested in your stories, the chances of attraction increase significantly. The expert emphasizes that the key is not in absolute interpretations, but in understanding behavioral nuances. Be careful not to confuse friendliness with romantic interest. Many men mistakenly interpret a friendly conversation as an invitation. The recommendation is to observe deeper signals, such as emotional availability, seeking private moments, and a special sparkle in her eyes when you interact. Developing emotional intelligence becomes essential in this process. This means training your ability to observe without judging, listening attentively, and noticing subtle details. The more you practice this skill, the more natural and accurate it will become. Remember, each woman is unique, and the signals can vary. The fundamental aspect is to create a genuine connection, be authentic, and show respectful interest. The art of interpreting signals does not mean manipulation, but truly understanding feminine communication. When we talk about mixed signals, things become really complex. Often, a woman may send contradictory messages that leave any man completely confused. The secret is understanding how to deal with these situations without appearing invasive or insecure. In different social contexts, strategies need to be adapted. In a professional environment, for example, the signals will be much more discreet and subtle. In social settings, such as bars or social events, women tend to be more direct in demonstrating interest. Her personality also completely influences how signals are transmitted. Some women are naturally more shy and reserved, thus their signals will be extremely subtle. Others are more extroverted and will make a point to clarify their intentions. An intelligent strategy is to pay attention to the consistency of behaviors. If she maintains a pattern of closeness, seeks to create moments of connection, and shows genuine interest in your stories, the chances are high that real attraction exists. To deal with mixed signals, the expert recommends a few practical techniques. First, remain calm and don't interpret every gesture as a definitive declaration. Observe the full context of the interaction. A casual touch may indicate friendliness, not necessarily romantic interest. Another important tip is to create subtle testing moments. Find excuses to initiate casual conversations, observe how she responds, and if she maintains contact. The way she interacts in these moments can reveal much about her true intentions. Nonverbal communication will be your greatest ally on this journey. Pay attention to the details: body orientation, smile frequency, prolonged gazes. These elements say much more than 1,000 words. Adapting your approach is also fundamental. If you notice she is more reserved, be more discreet and respectful. If she is an extroverted person, you can be a bit more direct and relaxed in the interaction. The most important thing is to maintain authenticity. Don't try to be something you're not just to impress. Women generally quickly perceive any attempt at manipulation or artificial behavior. When we talk about common mistakes in interpreting feminine signals, the expert highlights crucial points that every man needs to understand. One of the biggest misconceptions is confusing simple politeness with romantic interest. Many women are naturally friendly and kind, which does not mean they are attracted. It is essential to learn to distinguish between a friendly conversation and genuine signs of attraction. A cordial smile or a casual approach should not be interpreted as a direct invitation for a relationship. The context is crucial in this interpretation. Observing the environment, the type of interaction, and the frequency of behaviors can help avoid hasty conclusions. Another serious mistake is completely ignoring the context of phrases. A woman may make a seemingly neutral comment that actually carries deeper meanings. She may create subtle situations for closeness or ask questions that seem simple but are actually attempts to establish a closer connection. Hastiness in interpreting signals is also a serious problem. Many men tend to turn a single gesture into a definitive declaration of interest. In reality, true signal reading requires patience and consistent observation. It's necessary to perceive behavior patterns, not isolated moments. The expert emphasizes the importance of developing sharper perception. It's not enough to just look. It's necessary to truly see and understand. Each signal has specific nuances that may go unnoticed by those who are not attentive. Feminine communication is a complex art that goes far beyond direct words. A practical piece of advice is to remain calm and confident. Do not panic or feel insecure when you notice subtle signals. Self-assurance is an extremely attractive factor. Women often value men who can interpret signals calmly and maturely. It's worth remembering that every woman is unique, and the signals can vary greatly. What works in one case may be completely different in another. The key lies in attentive observation, the ability to listen beyond words, and the sensitivity to perceive the nuances of communication. Emotional intelligence becomes an essential tool in this process. The more you develop your ability to understand emotional nuances, the better your ability to interpret feminine signals accurately and respectfully. Adjustments and customizations in interpreting feminine signals need to consider several factors that directly influence communication. The first significant variable is age, which completely modifies how signals are transmitted. A young man of 20 will perceive signals very differently than a 40-year-old man. In youth, signals tend to be more direct and playful, with more physical contact and relaxed interactions. In older ages, communication becomes more refined, with more complex emotional subtleties and fewer evident physical demonstrations. Cultural variations also significantly impact this reading. In more conservative societies, signals will be extremely discreet and coded. In more open cultures, women may be more direct in demonstrating interest. A Brazilian will have a completely different experience than a Japanese or a European when interpreting these nonverbal codes. The type of relationship also requires important adaptations. In a professional environment, the signals need to be extremely subtle to avoid misunderstandings. In academic contexts, communication will have intellectual nuances. In social environments, like bars and parties, signals may be more evident and direct. Customization goes beyond that. Each woman has a unique communication style. Some are naturally more shy and will use almost imperceptible signals. Others are extroverted and will want to create more explicit moments of connection. It is essential to understand that there is no universal manual. The key lies in attentive observation, the ability to perceive individualities and respect for differences. Each interaction will be unique, requiring sensitivity and adaptability. The secret lies in developing relational intelligence that allows you to understand the nuances of each situation. It is not enough to memorize techniques. It is necessary to truly be present. Listen beyond words and notice the subtle details that reveal true intentions. Emotional flexibility will be your greatest ally on this journey of understanding. The more you can adapt, observe without judging, and respect feminine individuality, the better your chances of establishing genuine and meaningful connections. When we talk about strengthening the application and consistency in interpreting feminine signals, emotional intelligence becomes an essential tool. Developing this skill is not something that happens overnight, but a gradual process of learning and self-awareness. The first step to enhancing your perception involves training observation without judgment. This means truly being present at the moment, listening attentively, and noticing the subtle details that often go unnoticed. Many men have a habit of listening only to respond, but the true art lies in listening to understand. Simple practices can help improve this ability. Start paying more attention to everyday conversations, observing the body language of people around you. Notice gestures, tone of voice, and subtle movements that reveal emotions. Over time, you will develop an almost intuitive sensitivity to pick up on nonverbal messages. Building trust in your own interpretations is a gradual process. Initially, you may feel insecure and constantly question your perceptions. But the more you practice, the more secure you will become. The secret lies in balancing observation with authenticity, without falling into the traps of paranoia or exaggerated interpretations. An interesting technique is to keep a diary of observations. Record your perceptions about social interactions, analyzing later what worked or didn't. This will help identify patterns and refine your ability to read signals. Empathy exercises are also fundamental. Try to put yourself in the other person's shoes, understanding their motivations and emotions. This will enhance your perception and make your interpretations more accurate and respectful. Practicing meditation and mindfulness techniques can significantly help in this process. They train your mind to be present, observe without judgment, and perceive emotional nuances that would usually go unnoticed. Remember that developing emotional intelligence does not mean manipulation, but truly understanding the dynamics of communication. It's about creating genuine connections based on respect and mutual understanding. Each interaction is unique, and emotional flexibility will always be your greatest ally on this journey of self-discovery and interpersonal connection. We have reached the crucial moment of recapping everything we discussed about feminine signals. The expert highlights that mastering this skill is not about memorizing rules, but developing sharp and sensitive perception. Constant practice of eye observation will be your greatest ally in this journey to decipher the codes of feminine communication. Each interaction is unique, so there is no magic formula. The fundamental aspect is to remain authentic, respect each woman's individuality, and develop emotional intelligence. The key lies in observing behavioral patterns, being truly present at the moment, and listening beyond words. I invite you to share your experiences, questions, and insights in the comments. What signals have you noticed? What challenges have you faced when trying to interpret feminine interests? Your experiences can help other men in this complex art of understanding subtle signals.